November 28, 2025, late afternoon. The sun is beginning its descent over the Black Sea, casting long shadows across waters that have witnessed centuries of maritime history. Off Turkey's Kocaeli province, in a region that serves as one of the most critical industrial corridors in the eastern Mediterranean, two vessels are about to become the protagonists of an incident that will reshape our understanding of modern naval warfare. Kocaeli province stretches along Turkey's northwestern coast, where the Sea of Marmara transitions into the Black Sea through the legendary Bosphorus Strait. This region is no ordinary stretch of coastline. It represents the industrial heartland of modern Turkey, home to the country's largest petroleum refinery complex at Izmit, where the Tüpraş facility processes hundreds of thousands of barrels of crude oil daily. The province hosts major automotive manufacturing plants, including Ford Otosan and Hyundai, alongside sprawling petrochemical facilities, steel mills, and paper factories. More than 2 million people live in this densely industrialized corridor, making it one of the most economically vital regions in all of Anatolia. The waters off Kocaeli serve as the gateway for tankers approaching the Bosphorus, that narrow channel connecting the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, through which millions of barrels of oil transit every year. It is in these waters, at approximately 28 nautical miles from the Turkish shore, roughly 52 kilometers offshore, that a Russian Shadow Fleet supertanker named the KAIROS suffers an external impact and erupts into a floating inferno. Flames immediately begin devouring its hull, while thick columns of black smoke rise vertically into the evening sky, visible for miles across the calm Black Sea surface. The KAIROS is no ordinary vessel. Registered under IMO number 9819882, this bunkering tanker carries the Maritime Mobile Service Identity 209275000 and responds to the radio call sign 5 BZQ4. Built in 2018, the vessel measures 117 meters in length and 20 meters in beam, dimensions that classify it as a medium-sized tanker designed specifically for ship-to-ship fuel transfer operations. Despite flying the Cypriot flag, a European Union member state, the KAIROS has been identified by international investigators as a critical link in the logistical chain supporting Russian oil exports. The vessel's primary function is bunkering, the at-sea transfer of fuel between larger tankers and smaller vessels, or the refueling of ships that wish to avoid port calls where sanctions enforcement might be more rigorous. This operational profile makes the KAIROS particularly valuable to the Shadow Fleet, as it enables oil transfers in international waters, far from the prying eyes of port authorities and sanctions compliance officers. Less than 1 hour after the KAIROS erupts in flames, a second alert reaches Turkish maritime authorities. Another sanctioned tanker, the VIRAT, reports being struck approximately 35 nautical miles offshore, further east along the Turkish Black Sea coast. This second vessel is a true giant of the seas, a 250-meter behemoth capable of carrying over 114,000 tons of crude oil in its massive holds. Dense gray smoke is observed pouring from its engine room area, though the vessel does not immediately ignite in the spectacular fashion witnessed aboard the KAIROS. The VIRAT represents an entirely different class of vessel, registered under IMO number 9832559, with MMSI 629009648 and call sign C5J750. This Aframax-class crude oil tanker was constructed in 2019, making it a relatively young vessel by tanker standards. At 250 meters in length and 44 meters in beam, the VIRAT dwarfs the KAIROS, more than twice its length and more than double its cargo capacity. The vessel operates under the Gambian flag, one of the numerous flags of convenience that characterize the Shadow Fleet's attempts to obscure ownership and evade regulatory scrutiny. When fully loaded, the VIRAT can transport approximately 800,000 barrels of crude oil, representing a cargo value that can exceed $40 million depending on market prices. The loss or damage of such a vessel and its cargo represents a significant financial blow, but more importantly, it signals a new vulnerability in Moscow's oil export infrastructure. Who struck these vessels? How did unmanned naval weapons reach this zone, right in the heart of commercial shipping lanes near the approaches to the Bosphorus? And most importantly, what do these twin explosions truly reveal about the technological and strategic war being waged over Russian oil and its ghost fleet? The answers lie in understanding a shadowy maritime network that has emerged since Western sanctions began targeting Russian energy exports. Since the imposition of Western sanctions on Russian oil, hundreds of aging tankers have been purchased, repurposed, or registered under new flags to continue transporting crude outside traditional commercial circuits. These vessels operate under flags of convenience like those of Gambia, Gabon, Cameroon, and Palau, nations with minimal maritime regulatory infrastructure and limited capacity to enforce international shipping standards. The ownership structures of these vessels are deliberately opaque, hidden behind layers of shell companies registered in jurisdictions with strict corporate secrecy laws. Insurance coverage, when it exists at all, comes from providers outside the Western financial system, often based in Russia or sympathetic nations willing to ignore sanctions requirements. The Shadow Fleet's operational practices would be considered extremely high risk by any reputable maritime insurer. Many vessels operate without the comprehensive inspections required by major classification societies. Maintenance schedules are often deferred or ignored entirely. Crews may lack the training certifications required by international maritime conventions. These practices save money in the short term, but create significant risks, not only for the crews aboard these aging vessels, but for the marine environment and coastal communities that could be affected by accidents, spills, or catastrophic failures. The KAIROS and the VIRAT are both components of this shadow infrastructure. The KAIROS, despite its Cypriot registration, has been sanctioned by the European Union since May 2025, followed by the United Kingdom in July of the same year, and subsequently by Switzerland. The VIRAT faced American sanctions as early as January 2025, followed by similar designations from the European Union and United Kingdom. These are not ordinary commercial tankers plying legitimate trade routes. They are the arteries pumping billions of dollars into Moscow's war chest, enabling the continuation of military operations despite unprecedented Western economic pressure. And now, they find themselves in Ukrainian drone crosshairs. On the afternoon of November 28th, the KAIROS was steaming through the Black Sea in ballast condition, meaning its cargo tanks were empty, containing only the vapors and residues of previous loads. According to Turkish maritime authorities, the vessel was transiting from an Egyptian port toward Novorossiysk, Russia's major oil terminal on the Black Sea's northeastern shore. Novorossiysk handles approximately 2% of global crude oil supply, serving as the terminus for pipelines carrying oil from Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Russia's own Siberian fields. The port has become even more strategically critical since Ukraine's attacks have disrupted alternative export routes through the Baltic and Black Sea regions. The KAIROS's position at the moment of impact, approximately 28 nautical miles off Kocaeli province, placed it within Turkey's exclusive economic zone, but in international shipping lanes used by hundreds of vessels transiting between the Bosphorus and Black Sea ports. Around 1500 GMT, disaster struck. Turkey's transport ministry later confirmed that the damage resulted from an external cause, definitively ruling out internal incidents such as engine room fires, fuel system malfunctions, or accidental cargo explosions. A massive fire erupted on board, generating flames that quickly spread across the superstructure and deck areas. Turkish Coast Guard vessels responded immediately, eventually evacuating all 25 crew members to safety. Though the tanker was empty of cargo, the internal volumes filled with hydrocarbon vapors and residual bunker fuel sustained a spectacular conflagration, visible for miles across the Black Sea's calm waters. Within the hour, a second alarm reached Ankara. The VIRAT, that 250-meter giant under Gambian registry, reported being struck approximately 35 nautical miles off the Turkish coast, further east in the Black Sea. Dense smoke was observed emanating from the engine room compartment at the vessel's stern, though significantly, the VIRAT did not immediately catch fire in the dramatic fashion witnessed aboard the KAIROS. The difference in outcomes likely reflects the different impact points and the vessel's different configurations. The VIRAT's larger size and more modern design may have provided greater survivability against the weapon's effects. All 20 crew members aboard the VIRAT were eventually confirmed safe by Turkish authorities. On paper, these incidents could be dismissed as two successive technical accidents in commercial waters, unfortunate coincidences in a region where aging vessels with questionable maintenance records regularly transit. But very quickly, one crucial detail tipped the entire affair into the realm of coordinated military action: the VIRAT's distress call. In the hours following the incident, Several international media outlets obtained a recording of the VIRAT's emergency radio transmission. On this recording, a voice clearly identifies itself and its situation with unmistakable clarity. The crew member does not speak of drifting mines, internal explosions, or mechanical failures. Instead, he explicitly mentions a drone attack, right in the middle of the Black Sea. This distress call is essential for understanding the true nature of what occurred on November 28th. Simultaneously, Turkey's Transport Ministry published an official statement indicating that the VIRAT's captain had specifically reported an attack by unmanned maritime vehicles. This vocabulary perfectly matches the surface drones that Ukraine has developed and deployed with increasing sophistication. The famous Sea Baby platforms that have already struck targets from the Crimea Bridge to Russian naval vessels at Sevastopol. Within hours of the incident, any hypothesis of accidental damage was completely demolished. Ukrainian sources quickly confirmed what the VIRAT's distress call and Turkish authorities already suggested. An official from Ukraine's security services, the SBU, told several international media outlets that this was a deliberate operation conducted with Ukrainian-designed Sea Baby naval drones. These platforms have already demonstrated their capabilities against high-profile targets, combining autonomous navigation with remote pilot override capabilities that allow operators to adjust approach vectors during the terminal phase of an attack. Sea Baby drones represent a remarkable evolution in asymmetric naval warfare. These explosive-laden surface drones are capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers at high speed, striking targets far beyond Ukrainian coastal waters. Their design prioritizes low observability and operational endurance. The platform features a low-gray hull that minimizes radar cross-section, twin outboard motors mounted at the stern providing both speed and redundancy, and a fully enclosed deck with no crew accommodation. At the bow, a small mast carries both an antenna for command link communications and an electro-optical sensor that provides real-time video feed to remote operators. The entire package features a stealthy, angular design optimized to minimize radar returns and make detection as difficult as possible for target vessel crews. From a purely technical perspective, what the KAIROS and VIRAT attacks reveal is the remarkable maturity that Ukrainian naval drone technology has achieved. Both tankers were struck at considerable distances from the Ukrainian coast. The KAIROS at approximately 28 nautical miles from Turkish shores, the VIRAT at approximately 35 nautical miles. These positions lie in a dense commercial traffic zone near the approach to the Bosphorus Strait, surrounded by legitimate merchant vessels from dozens of nations. To reach these positions, Sea Baby drones must travel dozens, even hundreds of kilometers across open water while maintaining precise trajectories toward identified targets. A surface drone of this type combines several technological building blocks that work in concert. Satellite navigation provides primary positioning when available. Inertial guidance systems maintain accurate heading and position estimation during periods when satellite signals may be jammed or unavailable. Programmed waypoints allow the drone to navigate around obstacles, avoid detection zones, and approach targets from unexpected angles. Video feeds and additional sensors enable terminal approach adjustments, allowing operators to confirm target identity and guide the weapon to the most vulnerable impact points on the target vessel. The explosive charge, concentrated in the drone's bow section, is specifically designed to maximize damage on impact. The goal is either to breach the target vessel's hull below the waterline, potentially causing flooding and loss of stability, or to penetrate into the hull and trigger fires in the vessel's internal volumes, where fuel, cargo vapors, or engine room flammables can sustain a devastating conflagration. Against civilian tankers designed to transport oil rather than survive combat, these weapons prove devastatingly effective. On the defensive side, tankers like KAIROS and VIRAT are extraordinarily vulnerable to this type of attack. They are civilian vessels, often of considerable age, equipped with detection systems designed purely to avoid collisions with other ships, not to spot small, fast-moving targets presenting very low radar signatures. Commercial navigation radars are optimized for detecting large vessels and fixed obstacles like buoys and coastlines. They lack the specialized processing capabilities needed to filter small surface returns from sea clutter. These vessels carry no close-in weapon systems like those found on frigates or destroyers, no defensive countermeasures, no dedicated watch teams scanning for asymmetric threats. The result is stark. An undetected Sea Baby drone approaching at high speed has an extremely high probability of reaching its target. especially in open sea conditions dozens of miles from any potential assistance. But why target these two specific vessels? The answer is fundamentally strategic. Attacking the Shadow Fleet means directly striking Moscow's Black Fund. Despite the full weight of Western sanctions, Russia continues exporting a significant portion of its crude oil through this ghost fleet, comprising hundreds of vessels operating entirely outside traditional insurance and certification circuits. Independent analysts estimate that Shadow Fleet tankers carry a substantial share of Russia's total seaborne oil exports, generating revenues measured in billions of dollars that directly fuel the war effort in Ukraine. Every barrel of Russian crude that reaches market via the Shadow Fleet represents income that can purchase artillery shells, drones, missiles, and the countless other materiel requirements of sustained military operations. By targeting vessels like KAIROS and VIRAT at sea, Ukraine sends a clear and unmistakable signal. Sanctioned vessels participating in sanctions evasion are no longer untouchable. For the ship owners, operators, and insurers involved in this shadow network, the message could not be more brutal. Insurance premiums for Black Sea transits will inevitably spike as underwriters reassess the risk profiles of vessels operating in these waters. The perceived danger of participating in Russian oil logistics operations explodes. Every charter to a Russian Black Sea port becomes a dramatically riskier business decision, with potential consequences that now include not merely regulatory penalties or reputational damage, but physical destruction of the vessel itself. Ultimately, this campaign could reduce the number of vessels available and willing to transport Russian crude, or increase logistics costs so substantially that the net margin per barrel shrinks dramatically. This is precisely what Kiev seeks: to transform the Black Sea into a space where economic warfare plays out directly on the hulls of the Ghost Fleet, where the financial calculations of Shadow Fleet operators must now include the very real possibility of Ukrainian drones emerging from the gray horizon. For Turkey, these attacks create a genuine strategic headache of the first order. The explosions occurred within Turkey's exclusive economic zone, near the approach to the Bosphorus Strait, one of the planet's most sensitive choke points for energy traffic. Approximately 3 million barrels of oil pass through this narrow channel every day, representing a substantial fraction of European energy imports. Ankara must simultaneously manage navigation safety in its territorial waters, maintain its complex relationship with Moscow, preserve its ties with Kyiv, and honor its commitments as a NATO member state. Officially, Turkey condemns the use of drones against civilian vessels and warns about the risks these attacks pose to navigation safety and the marine environment. Turkish authorities emphasize that even empty tankers of this size carry substantial quantities of bunker fuel and technical oils capable of polluting the sea in case of catastrophic leaks or uncontrolled fires. Environmental organizations remind observers that the Black Sea is already weakened by decades of industrial discharge, the presence of drifting mines from the ongoing conflict, and numerous wrecks littering the seabed. A fully loaded supertanker struck near Turkish coastal waters would represent an ecological catastrophe of potentially unprecedented proportions for the region. The attacks on KAIROS and VIRAT off Turkish shores mark a decisive new stage in the Black Sea War. Sea Baby naval drones have demonstrated their capability to strike sanctioned tankers at considerable distances from Ukrainian territory, in the heart of international commercial shipping lanes, with both precision and lethality. This is no longer merely a war of missiles and mines concentrated near traditional front lines. It has become a conflict where energy flows themselves become primary targets, where the distinction between military and civilian vessels dissolves the moment a tanker participates in sanctions evasion. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next OceanAlert video. For navies and maritime security analysts worldwide, the message is unmistakably clear. The next naval battle will not be fought solely between destroyers, submarines, and aircraft carriers. It will also be fought between drone swarms and tanker fleets on commercial routes once thought relatively safe from military action. Every AIS transponder signal linked to Russian oil, every Shadow Fleet vessel transiting the Black Sea, every flag of convenience becomes a potential target in this new algorithmic theater of operations. The surface of the sea has become the newest battlefield in the war over Russian oil revenues. What was once the domain of submarines and naval combat has transformed into a contest where small, autonomous weapons can threaten vessels worth tens of millions of dollars, carrying cargoes worth tens of millions more. The implications extend far beyond the Black Sea, raising fundamental questions about maritime security. the vulnerability of global energy supply chains, and the future of naval warfare in an age of unmanned systems.